We're made to believe that strength means never letting them see you sweat, that any sign of weakness, any crack in that flawless facade, is something to be avoided at all costs. And to a point, that's all BS. Real strength, true power, comes from the opposite. In this video, we are going to reveal why being vulnerable, why daring to show your sweat, is hands down the most powerful move you've got. We all know that classic image of the strong, silent leader type. The fearless hero standing tall with the chiseled jaw and bulging muscles looking like they've got everything all figured out. Think Don Draper's persona on Mad Men. Those flawless ideals that project nothing but unwavering confidence and perfection at all times. As motivating as those personas may seem, they're just that, carefully crafted images. And when people sense you're simply playing a role, always trying to uphold that mask of having your life together, it becomes really tough to make any authentic connection. Let's look at Captain America, for instance. Chris Evans' Steve Rogers personifies that supreme hero with his granite jawline and superhero physique. But the core reason why he resonates with millions of fans is because despite his superhuman abilities, Cap always lets his very human vulnerabilities and flaws shine through too. Whether it's feeling like a total fish out of water in the modern age, second-guessing his role after losing allies, or just being an awkward Boy Scout at heart, Rogers lays it all out there. He's never scared to show he's a real, imperfect person who wrestles with self-doubt and uncertainties just like the rest of us. And that's precisely what makes him such an inspiring, charismatic, and deeply compelling leader that you can't help but admire and want to follow. His vulnerability humanizes him, so you don't just gawk at the super soldier demigod on a pedestal. You relate to the man beneath. Because at the end of the day, the greatest connections happen when you meet people where they're at. Struggles, anxiety, questionable dance moves, and all. Not through cultivating some shiny, filtered snapshot of your life that leaves people at arm's length.
Rogers! I said fall in!
Another of vulnerability's most low-key, yet powerful benefits. Its ability to inspire empathy and create an environment where people feel safe opening up themselves. We're all drawn to folks who just get us, right? The type of person you can share your struggles with and they'll respond with that knowing look and head nod.
No! I am not okay! I have been trying to keep it together from A's and Eve, but I can't take it anymore! I have to say something, because I know the truth. I know that Lucifer is the actual devil.
An instant connection gets formed through that shared experience and understanding. But here's the thing. For others to really empathize with where you're coming from, you first have to give them a window into your reality. You've got to put a bit of your authentic self out there and allow yourself to be seen, vulnerabilities and all. Think about everybody's favorite boss from Scranton, Michael Scott. As jaw-droppingly cringy as his antics could be, one of the reasons the employees kept showing up was because they sensed there was a real human under all those foot-in-mouth moments. And nowhere did we see Michael's vulnerability on full display more than that episode where he unwittingly shared his serious financial troubles with the office.
Toby.
Hey, I just got the word on the communal birthdays. Great idea.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Is there anything
My birthday was 2 months ago.
Oh, okay.
There was no party.
What?
Well, it was, but Mike scheduled it for...
Despite always trying to project that image of a wealthy, successful businessman, he got real about the fact that his reckless spending was putting him in a legitimately scary situation. Just like that, the face he showed the world crumbled. Instead of using it as an excuse to mock Michael relentlessly, the office actually rallied around their suddenly human boss. For once, he stopped being the punchline and they saw the person, someone under authentic strain who needed support just like the rest of them. There was an intimacy that formed in that moment of vulnerability that carried through the rest of that episode and their relationships from there on out. And you could see it spawn more of those honest heart-to-hearts like when Pam opened up about struggling to find her purpose as a mom.
New York, as it turns out, is very expensive, and I ran out of money. I thought about selling a kidney, but Michael offered to get me a part-time job at corporate.
Or Meredith copping to her personal demons.
I really didn't think I was going to have a good time, but I did. Totally did.
I love camping. Anything can happen.
Well, it wasn't camping. It's more of a wilderness retreat.
Warning.
See how that instantly disarms any residual nervousness or brown-nosing the group may have felt. By opting to go first and be radically candid about the weight you're carrying, you give everyone around you the implicit permission to follow suit. And with each subsequent layer of authenticity peeled back, a whole new level of openness, empathy, and tight-knit trust gets unlocked. On to the next point is its ability to magically disarm even the most tense, defensive situations. Vulnerability is like a mental judo move. With a few vulnerability-laced sentences, it totally shifts the dynamic. The other person's defenses automatically drop a few notches in the face of that candid humility and invitation to explain, not attack. See, when you perceive someone as being closed off, acting superior, or just behaving combatively, your natural instinct is to meet that with equal force, deflecting, doubling down on your stance, maybe even raising the temperature. It becomes this vicious, self-perpetuating cycle. But vulnerability is like hitting the diffuse button. It disarms that guardedness by modeling a different behavior of humility and openness. And human wiring means we're compelled to mirror that more constructive dynamic once it's introduced. To illustrate, let's use a scene from Money Heist. Haunted by a traumatic past, Tokyo often comes across as aggressive and guarded. Remember the tense standoff with Rio in the first heist. When she finally breaks down and shares her pain, a vulnerability she rarely shows, it creates a powerful connection with Rio. They find comfort and support in each other, strengthening their bond. The bottom line is, whether it's a workplace conflict, brewing, or an important conversation that feels weighed down by personal tensions, vulnerability gives you an elegant way to reset the situation and open the door for actual, healthy dialogue. When your goal is to disarm an intense moment and steer everyone in a more productive direction, don't rely on typical blunt force arguments. Instead, bring strategic openness to the table, which leads us to the next point. Look at any iconic TV couple that stood the test of time. Mitch and Cam from Modern Family, the legendary Lorelai and Rory Gilmore. What made those bonds feel so genuine and invested in wasn't just the likability of the characters. It was the fact that they constantly peeled back the layers and had those raw, honest heart-to-hearts without filter. We're talking screaming matches that ended with one person bearing their irrational fears and stresses, confronting insecurities head-on, even when it was awkward AF, dismantling that polite small-talk facade to unapologetically co-pilot through the rough patches as an inseparable unit. This level of vulnerability echoed because it gave us a window into something real, the kind of radical transparency and emotional intimacy that truly sustains a relationship through the daily ups and downs. Putting yourself out there first with those vulnerable truth bombs, it's like giving the other person a permission slip to match that level of disclosure themselves. You've just created a safe space to get down to the nitty-gritty, instead of batting around surface pleasantries. Let go of the flawless front and boldly embrace the parts of yourself that feel inadequate or imperfect. It's the ultimate power move for inspiring trust and forging unbreakable bonds. Want to master this superpower? Subscribe and join me in leveling up your authentic presence to truly magnetic levels.